I think the early stages, you know, there would always have been a worry, because if you're starting anything, you just don't know, you know. And we could have gone about it in different ways, you know, kind of placed ads in papers and told, we did tell as many people as we could about it, but in a kind of word of mouth way. So I think certainly the first, that first March to September in the Pembroke, there would always have been a worry, because you know the numbers would have been small, and you need a turnover of people, you know, and you need a certain number of singers, as I said, to create a dynamic. But and in the early days of Thomas House, and there was, like, you know, as I said, downstairs in Thomas House, there would be people coming and going, and if some people saw singing that time in a poster, we would have a little poster left downstairs, they would have automatically assumed that it was a sing-song, you know, and that you come along and you kind of clap your hands. And we didn't want to kind of be, we would be very welcoming of people who were regulars in the pub to come in, but we also had to establish what we wanted, you know, so there was an element of difficulty in kind of, I suppose, in people taking over maybe, you know, or not knowing really what we were about. So in the early days, that did create its own difficulties, but it was good as well, because, you know, it helped us to establish ourselves what we wanted, and to let other people know what we wanted, you know. But at some stage, as I said, in Thomas House, then, you know, you always get a tipping point in these things. You either fail or you go on, you know. And I think at some stage in Thomas House, we did get a kind of a core group where you felt, you know, you didn't think about whether it was going to happen or not. It happened, you know, and it became established. And by the time we moved to the Four Seasons, I think it was fairly well established. By the time I left Dublin, which was 1983, to move to Clare, I think the club was pretty well. We would have been very happy with anytime we would have met informally and talked about it, we would have been very happy at that time that the club was definitely on a firm footing, you know, and for all the right reasons, you know. I think it had developed a nice persona, you know. There was great friendliness about it, a great supportiveness, and I think singers from the Góilín would have been meeting in other venues as well, you know. And I think there was little offshoots, like the broadsheets that we printed, and, you know, the I suppose the various, maybe the odd weekend away, and like there was, I remember one particular, I think if I had to put my finger on one time where I felt, this is established, you know, if it doesn't work from here, there's something else is wrong. But we definitely have a core group here, and it was a Christmas, coming up to Christmas, and we were in Thomas House, and I would say it was probably Christmas 1980. So we'd been in our second year in Thomas House, and we decided to meet in the afternoon. We did the Góilín on the Thursday night, and the next Saturday before Christmas, we decided to meet in the afternoon, because it was Christmas time, and have a kind of a Christmas party with song, as it were, in Thomas House. So it was different to the club, you know, and it was kind of people who had been at the club for the previous 2 or 3 weeks would have known about it. And it was tremendous, you know. I suppose it was the whole idea of celebrating Christmas and celebrating the fact that the Góilín was going well. And as I said, there was always a great friendly atmosphere in the club anyway. And there was this, it was almost as if it took off, you know. There was a tremendous afternoon of singing, some solo singing, some harmony singing, just a great, a kind of a happiness vibe about the whole thing. And that, if I think I would have said to myself, well, this is okay, this is going to last for a while, you know. I just felt that we had enough people doing the right thing, you know. I suppose we were all relaxed because it wasn't a club night, maybe, as well, you know. But I just felt, and I think I was probably proved to be right, in the sense that if it had, for me, if it had a kind of a turning point, that might have been it, you know.
Yeah, so when you then moved away from Dublin, you felt that, you know, the club was healthy enough to kind of...
I did, really, yeah. I felt it was in a very healthy state. And we would have talked about it, I think. It wasn't just me, you know. I think at that stage, Luke Cheevers and Barry Gleeson and Roisin Gaffney would all have been making their own contribution. Jerry O'Reilly. And we would have, you know, met informally and talked about it right through that period, really, right up to the time that I moved away to 83. And we would have been very happy, I think, overall. We you know, there was always a sense of evaluating it, you know, like what can we do without being too pushy about it, that, you know, what can we do? How is this going? So that would have been an ongoing process, albeit a very informal one, you know. But we would constantly have been evaluating, like, where are we, how are we doing, you know, kind of what's happening, what happened last Thursday or Friday night, you know. So I think it was in a very healthy state, and we would all have felt reasonably happy with it, that it was well established, and that you had a good listening audience, you know, and a good core of singers coming, and a turnover of people. You'd have new singers I think, coming, which is what any club needs, that it didn't have a staid feel to it at any stage around that time, and there wasn't that difficulty, I think, of getting it moving on any given night,